Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
This is the third preliminary rounds of pick number 16. Lots of numbers. Alex, we're here again.
Hey, thrilled to be here. This is our third preliminary round. We're getting old hat at it.
Or old. I don't know. Do we need the hat? Anyway, great to have you all here. And well, what's this about? Pick number 16. We've had our largest group of innovators over 3 rounds. This is the last of those. The rules for anyone who are the rules, if you want to speak in Dublinese, which is where we're going to be in about 6 weeks or 5 weeks, right? For those that go to LocWorld and the pick at LocWorld, that's where the final will be. Well, innovators have 3 minutes. We have 3 slides that they can use, and there are 3 dragons, and we have our dragons ready. And as I was saying in the prep, in the green room, as they say, they're sharpening their teeth, Alex. Who are our dragons?
Sharpening their teeth and getting ready to breathe some fire in terms of tough questions. So let's welcome first Veronique. How are you today? Great to see you.
Good morning, good afternoon. Same here, Alex. Hi,
yeah.
everybody.
Next up, we have Porek. Porek, how are you?
I am great, thank you. Happy to be here.
All right, thanks for being here again. And last but not least, Gaetan, how are you today?
All good, and good morning, good afternoon, and good luck to everybody.
We're thrilled to have you all here. I'll let everyone know that the recording of this session will be posted within a few hours. With 28 innovators, we want our dragons to have the chance to be able to go back, and you also can go back as well if you missed any of the pitches from the last 2 days. So look for that on the LocWorld YouTube channel later this morning. After we finish today's sessions, our dragons have the really tough task of not only writing feedback for each of the 28 innovators, but then have the very tough task of whittling it down to just 6 finalists who will be invited to join us. The final round takes place on Thursday, June 6th. That's in Dublin, Ireland at LocWorld51 Conference, and we're really excited. It will take us a little time over the weekend to tabulate the results and to send all of the feedback to our innovators, so please be patient with us. We plan to post the running order for the final round by next Wednesday. So you'll look for that on the PIC website at pic.locworld.com.
And is there another Dublin? I was going to ask Alex, but there's a Dublin, Ohio, and
Dublin, Ohio,
and California as well, right? So, and I'm sure someone will raise their hand and say there's another one, but Dublin is the one we're going to. Good. So these are our preliminary round 3 innovators. We've done a little bit of rejigging on the order. So starting off with Andreas, and then we'll have Jing, and then Evgeny. So let's get the show on the road. And Andreas, we'll ask you to join us and get you started.
All right, I'm here.
And we hear you loud and clear.
Over to you.
All right. Thank you much for inviting me to pitch. My name is Andreas Ljungström, Senior Manager of Solutions Engineering at XTM. Next slide, please. So translation volumes in our industry are growing year on year. With the advent of Gen AI, we're already seeing an increase in content rushing through our systems. As much as we like NMT and LLMs in our processes, do we trust the AI will get it right? And given the immense volumes, do we have the resources to check it all? No, we don't. So automating QA checks and automating translation quality evaluation becomes paramount to making the right business decisions. And this is where my innovation helps. Next slide, please. We can have a look at the application. It uses AI methods to evaluate translation quality. This application, it gathers information from translation projects and changes workflows and user assignments automatically based on the error found. We see it creating a project automatically, and if we zoom over to the UI, we see the project appearing with an unsupervised workflow, so no human in the loop. The application then performs a triage. And based on the triage, it then updates workflows and assignments accordingly. We head on back to the application, refresh, and we see that the German workflow has remained unchanged, whereas the Swedish workflow has been edited. We have put a human back into the loop. Files have been generated automatically. For German, we get a target file, of course, because it's unchanged. And we also see the triage report being added to the project. Let's have a look at the triage report. Based on our metrics, the German threshold was passed, whereas the Swedish wasn't. Hence, the application automatically assigned a human in the loop and changed the workflow for Swedish. Next slide, please. I believe that the benefits of this innovation are legion. In a no human in the loop process, this innovation is particularly interesting because it can supervise the unsupervised process and take action automatically given the data it receives. This makes sure the right human is in fact added to the loop at the right point in time, further decreasing the time to market. This innovation is also generic. It's API centric, so anyone could do this and configure it to your own needs with your own parameters. With auto QA and conditional workflows, PMs don't have to do any legwork whatsoever, and subject matter experts only get looped in when their expertise is truly needed. Given the amount of volume and quality demands we're facing, this innovation is not a nice to have, it's a must have to stay on top of the AI tidal wave. Next slide, please. And I'm ready for questions.
Great stuff. Thanks very much, Andreas. Nicely done. Right human, right time. I like that. So, Dragons, do you have questions for Andreas?
Andreas, how long does it take to configure? Can you explain to us a little bit, how you set it up so that you have no touch?
That actually is all out of the box. The magic of this application is in how the API uses a couple of methods to add a layer on top of what is already automated. I would say, Veronique, that solving the automation puzzle is done already, right? We know how to automate. The question is really how to put the human back into the loop in the automated process.
Andreas, you said that this uses AI methods. What exactly is under the hood?
It's actually building on top of what my colleague presented in day one, I believe, Shimon. So we have translation quality evaluation being performed automatically using our BERT algorithm. And it basically checks for semantic differences between sentences in two languages. And we can then get a score, in my case, right, translation quality evaluation. And if it fails, or if it's under a certain threshold, then my application will get to work and start reassigning and put the right SME in place.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks very much, Andreas. Well done. And that kicks us off nicely for the session. For anyone who's just joined, you're at the PIC 16 preliminary session 3, and we're about to move on with Jing and Yui. So I'll ask you to join the stage.
Just to make sure,
Awesome.
do I need to spotlight a second person too? Jing, and who was the second person?
I think
Hoi.
Hugh is going to... Hoi, sorry.
Okay,
Yes.
sorry.
Perfect.
You're very welcome. So
Thank you.
over to you. Hoi.
Awesome. Greetings to audience from all over the world. So I am Hui from AWS Data Center. Together with Jing and our partner, Scientific, we are going to present our AI application case in localization readiness. In the next slide, you will see the problem that we're intending to address. We can't produce a high-quality translation without a high-quality source content. Our goal is to shorten the turnaround time for the source content review. Now, of course, the term creation for the quality consistency. Let's take a look at how it works in our demo video in the next slide, starting with the source review. First, upload a source file. And we can select the review criteria and then generate a report. Here at the bottom, we can see the issues, the issue tabs, the details, and the suggested fix. A log PM can review the issues and take corresponding actions. So once that is being reviewed, log PM can download the report and send it to our content creator for the next step. So that's on the source content review. In the second demo video, we can see how we generate English terms leveraging on AI. First, we upload our source file. Of course, we sometimes have existing term list. We upload it to avoid term duplicates. On the right side, you can see we can add our requirements, as it can be the number of words per term, or it could be domain-specific related term. Once that's entered, we can start to detect the new terms. At the bottom, you can see we have a list of terms suggested based on the source content and with the definition. And the LocPM can review and calibrate with subject matter expert with the exported term file. And of course, we move on to the next step in this part, which is to translate. Upload the term that we just validated with our subject matter expert, select the target language, and then generate the translation. From there, our LocPMs can export the term and finalize the translated term with our subject matter expert. Now, you have seen how we actually apply AI in the localization readiness process. So what are the benefits? Next slide. By leveraging on AI, we are expecting to increase our human, which is our LocPM's productivity, up to 50% time saving for source review and 75% time saving for term creation. With that, I conclude our presentation for the day. And in the next slide, I'd like to invite Jing and Wei to join me for the Dragon Q&A.
Thank you very much. And yeah, Dragons, do we have questions for the team?
My question would be, so this is,
Go ahead.
oh, sorry, you want to go? Go, Gaetan, that's okay.
That's okay, Veronique. Go. I'll go later.
So source language there is English. Does it work no matter what the source language may be?
For the demo, due to the short duration, we have used English as a source. Of course, we could technically calibrate that with various language as the target language, because the content source can be from various language. Thank you, Veronique.
Great, thank you.
And can you give us a status update as to where you are in terms of developing this tool? Because as I understand, it's still in the pilot phase, right? So, and also, do you have plans to like make it commercially available in the future, or what's your strategy there?
This year, we are really in the exploration phase. We are, yeah, right, Gaetan, we are in the pilot phase. And in Amazon, the first priority for us, whatever application or innovation we are developing, the first priority is on the, it is app security and information security. So now we are having the concept and we need to go through the info security review and app security review before we can implement that into our production stage. So that is where we are now in terms of the status.
Wonderful. Thanks for the update.
Thank you. Yeah, great stuff. Thank you, Dragons. Thank you, Hui, Jane, and Wei. Great to see you.
Thank you, Dave.
And well presented. Great job, folks. Brilliant. Moving on, as we do. So, Evgeny, we'll ask you to join the stage. We're going to get you going in just a sec.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Yeah.
It's over to you, Evgeny.
Yeah, thank you. I'm the lead scientist for MT at AppTek, and this is a work done jointly with Deluxe. So next slide, one click, please. Yeah, in subtitle translation, gender is very important, especially for languages which are morphologically rich, where the word forms depend on the gender of the speaker, like Czech, Spanish, French, also Croatian in this case. We did a post-editing study where we saw that about a third of repetitive errors are related to gender, which results in frustration for post-editors having to edit the same type of error over and over again, decrease in productivity, and also gender bias, because MT tends to identify speakers as male if there's no extra context that tells it otherwise. So how do we deal with that? Well, we work with multimodal content, so we can use the audio to detect who is speaking, if it's male or female, and then pass this information to improve the MT. Speaker diarization automatically recognizes the speaker from the audio, from the voice characteristics. About 75 to 80% gender prediction accuracy is what we see. The remaining errors can still be corrected while creating the subtitle template by a professional together with ASR errors, for example. The main component here is neural intelligent line segmentation. We translate subtitle file to subtitle file, keeping the template and respecting subtitling constraints like the number of characters per line, but we translate full sentences always, also possibly with this additional context of neighboring sentences. The new thing is we added these line level gender labels to each line in a subtitle, which can then be passed on to the core, to the MT system, as an additional input signal. With this signal, the system can then reliably produce the word forms which are gender specific with about 90 to 95% accuracy, as for French, for example, while keeping the high accuracy on sentences where the gender does not affect MT output. This is possible because we train it by partitioning our parallel training data into 3 groups, female, male, and neutral, using regular expressions and also classifiers. So in example here, English to Croatian, adjectives and verb forms are affected, especially past tense verb forms. Without any additional information, the male form is usually generated. But if we run the speaker diarization, we get a label with an F at the end, meaning this is a female at this time frame and this is time point. So if we pass this information on to the machine translation, with the translation is changed, we can get the right word forms. So with this, we mitigate about 70% of gender-related errors for Croatian if we pass on the correct label to MT. And similarly for English to French, I'm pretty happy right now. Happy is an adjective. Again, the translation depends on who is talking. If we pass this information on, we can increase the accuracy for the female class, especially alleviating the gender bias from 30 to 89% and male accuracy from 85 to 95%. That's it. Thank you.
Great. Thanks very much. I was hearing all sorts of acronyms there. Regex, NMT, scripts. You know, I was surprised I didn't see the kitchen sink. And we didn't have to click. Thank you for that. Dragons, questions?
Is this already in use then? This is a fully deployed solution that you're using?
Yeah, so we have this added to our API, and this is now being tested by Deluxe in our partnership. Yeah, maybe at some point, because we also have general systems not trained for Deluxe, but which also support this. We will also then do this in our general API. Currently, the gender setting is available in the gender API, general API already, but not at the level of individual subtitle lines. So this is the new part that we added.
Cool. Thank you.
We can take one quick question if there's another one.
Well, I'll ask another one then. So the 75 to 80% accuracy in gender recognition, is the error rate driven mostly by the number of speakers or just the timbre of the voice that's hard to pinpoint?
Yeah, it's mostly the number of speakers, but mostly actually by the noise conditions in the background, actually, when the speakers change, especially. So it's, in some cases, you really need to correct the boundaries, but the advantage is that if some assignment is incorrect, then usually it's mostly still consistent across the file. So if you can say, for example, okay, this is actually not male, but female. So you can fix that, and this then propagates to all these parts of the file where this person is speaking. And then this gives you then saving. Yeah.
Yeah.
More conditions, timbre. Are we playing some kind of techie bingo here, folks?
Great
questions.
Learned that word recently.
Well done, Evgeny. Thanks very much, and thanks, Pork, for the questions there. So next up, and we don't stop, as you know. This is how it rolls. Rachel, we'll ask you to join stage. I see you're ready already.
Hi. Yes, I'm ready. I think my internet is holding.
We can hear you clearly.
We're crossing our fingers. Over to you.
Okay, yes. I'm Rachel from Phrase, and I'm presenting Hyperautomation, how to turn AI into ROI. Next slide, please. So we've seen lots of single feature initiatives in the pick lineup, in market releases, and these are all potential single points of innovation. But as a leader in localization, if I'm trying to optimize the return on investment of my department, then I need all of these advances in tech at fingertips, but I need them along with the ability to balance the risk of applying innovative, particularly AI-driven methods. And we really believe that we've hit upon an innovation at Phrase that's a bit of a game changer here. We're calling it a platform for hyper-automation. This is the glue that brings AI, neural and generative, and human expertise together with the checks and balances that we need to deliver fit-for-purpose content at scale. So we want to give our customers the opportunity to optimize, but whilst maintaining the quality level that fits their risk profile. Next slide, please. So 2 diagrams. I'm going to walk through the process that the Phrase customer has been through before and after we've applied hyper automation via this platform. So beforehand, all content went to MT. Some of that, all of that content, sorry, followed then to MT post-editing and then to human review. A tiny proportion of the content was sampled for LQA via a complex sampling algorithm, and that LQA relied entirely on human annotators and consumed, I think it was about 30% of the customer's budget. The results of that LQA process sometimes led to language asset curation, so specifically TM curation, some term-based curation, and that was performed on a cadence, so it was limited, it was untargeted, and when there were sufficient TMs ready to retrain, MT engines were retrained approximately once every 6 months. So in summary, it was a flow that was limited by expensive human input, and that human effort wasn't optimized, it wasn't targeted to where it was most valuable, where it was going to have the highest impact, in contrast to now. So now, all of that content still goes to MT, but with a slight difference. So that MT is customized upfront and at runtime. We've got this dual customization approach. And at the same time, as an aggregator, we've got auto-select there to pick the best engine from generic, domain-adapted, customized, neural, generative models, whatever works best for that particular piece of content. Then we've got PE, and we've got QPS routing. QPS is our quality estimation here at Phrase. We score each segment individually, immediately. And if we set a conservative threshold, which we have in this particular use case, then 19% of content bypasses post-editing, and we can tweak that threshold in accordance with the particular risk profile for the use case. And at PE also, we've got a translator co-pilot to provide generative AI assistance. So we can highlight errors, we can suggest fixes. And in conclusion, these give us a saving of 28% on cost and turnaround time. A similar picture with human review. By default, that same 19% of content bypasses human inputs because all content that went to PE also went to review. But we can also offer auto review for the proportion of content that does still go to humans. Now that we've got all of those segments with QPS, with quality estimation scores attached, LQA sampling is easy. We can optimize LQA. We can save 60% and a turnaround time of 45% there. And we've got asset curation too. So in summary, in order to capture the true value of AI advances reliably and at scale and give that 29% reduction in overall cost and 32% reduction in turnaround time whilst maintaining. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you very much, Rachel. The clock caught up a little bit with you. Unfortunately, that's the way, but I think we got the message. And by the way, we heard you very clearly. So I'm sure the dragons will have questions. Dragons.
My goodness, the time pressure, Rachel, right? Shall I quick one maybe? You mentioned that you can define risk profiles. So do you have kind of a content categorization upstream before it enters the workflow?
Not separately from our auto select. That's the job of the customer. So we're providing an aggregation system. The customer comes in, they are the ones who are the experts on their content. So they are the ones who can categorize exactly what fit for purpose, exactly what that quality level needs to be for a particular type of content. And given that, they can use the fact that we've got these analytics, we've got these QPS quality estimation scores everywhere to work out exactly what the right quality level, the right thresholds are for a particular use case, a particular piece of content.
Understood. Thank you, Rachel.
Do we have time for one more?
A quick one.
Yeah, okay. So is it all Phrase proprietary technology, or is the hyper automation platform sort of technology agnostic as well?
A combination. So we've got some phrase-specific proprietary technology in there, but we're also an aggregator, and we're leaning into that very heavily. So with our auto select, I've just mentioned that, that's where we're fielding out to all those different MTs that should be available. We're going in the same direction with quality estimation, and the intention is to go in the same direction with generative AI too. At the moment, we're focusing on OpenAI, but that is planned to change.
Oh,
wonderful. Thanks.
thank you very much, Rachel.
Thank you very much.
Gaten. And well done. And where are you? Somewhere between Iran and somewhere else, you were saying?
Yes, I'm on the Iranian border.
Wow.
Hanging on to the phone signal.
You don't get extra points for that, by the way. But yeah, very well done. And
Still very cool.
hanging in there. Cool.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Rachel. Bruno, we'll get you moving on upstage. Where are you ringing in from?
I'm actually spending the semester in Budapest, Hungary.
Cool.
Wow, another great location. Well, Bruno, we'll get you going, and when you're ready.
Great, thank you. Hello, Dragons. Hello, fellow pick contestants. First slide, please. Great. For over 2 decades, glossaries or term bases were tethered to translation management systems, much like moons are to planets. This gravitational pull of TMSs meant that the impact of these terminology resources was limited to the TMS that hosted them, creating a silo problem. Next slide, please. Next slide, please.
Yep.
Thank you. Instead of being moons tethered to their TMS planets, we need term bases to be our sun in a new localization solar system. In this new system, we have not one, but multiple TMSs, large language models, vector databases, machine translation services, and various productivity apps orbiting the central terminology resource. Next slide, please. And please start the video. Thank you. At Blackbird, we achieved a significant milestone this year. We built interoperability among key linguistic resources and assets. Blackbird users can now decouple any terminology source of truth from its parent application, allowing these assets to be repurposed in other tools, including large language models, TMSs, or MT services. In the video shown here, we start with the workflow with content from Zendesk, machine translated with Deepdub, posted it with OpenAI's GPT-4, and then put the localized content back into Zendesk. Our user is exporting a memo queue glossary as a simple action in the workflow orchestration and repurposing this asset in another application. The memo queue glossary exported in step 3 is injected into an OpenAI post-editing action in step 5. In the background, Blackbird automatically converts and normalizes various terminology assets into the TBX standard during export. Terminology management is crucial for interoperability, especially when working with Gen AI. The ability to anchor terminology to prompts reduces hallucination and leads to better, more consistent and reliable outcomes. Glossaries and term bases can be transferred from a TMS or spreadsheet tool to use with generative AI or MT applications, providing a much-needed guardrail. The same decoupling approach also enables seamless interoperability between TMSs or MT systems and can break down silos between language and marketing departments. For example, SEO keywords and term bases can now be considered and reconciled within the same process. Even more exciting, Gen AI-powered content factories can be anchored to specific existing terminology databases. Last slide, please. Just as the sun is the center of our solar system, with planets and moons orbiting around it, terminology resources can now be the central force that drives and guides the localization in the universe. All we need is to do is unchain our glossaries.
Unchain our glossaries. Love it. I'll tell you, you were getting me a bit hypnotized in those earlier slides, so I'm glad you moved on. Dragons, are you hypnotized by Bruno?
Well, thanks, Bruno. It was indeed hypnotizing. I was wondering, I mean, are there any plans to expand this functionality that you've just presented to, I mean, beyond glossaries, such as, I don't know, handling other types of linguistic assets, maybe?
Yes, the keyword is actually interoperability, a word I have used several times in the presentation. So while we chose to start with term bases and glossaries, we actually started to go beyond, and now we are able to convert all kinds of content into XClif. So for example, we can take a file that would not be supported by an LLM or technologies like MTQE, which typically work with strings, but by being able to convert them into XClif, we make them compatible with these technologies. So the goal is to basically be able to take any linguistic asset or resource and make it interoperable, and just do this in the background without the user having to rely on a solution engineer as a manual process.
Great. Thank you, Gaten. Thank you, Bruno. Well done. And we will move on.
Thanks, Bruno.
And next up is Dylan. So Dylan, and by the way, as we get Dylan up on stage, if you want to ping us your location, do it in the chat. Let us know where you are. If I didn't ask you already, which was the case for some people, feel free. And Dylan, where are you calling in from?
G'day. I'm from Australia. So wonderful to be here today, everyone. Hi. My name is Dylan Hartmann. I am a certified Thai to English translator, Australian English localizer, and the co-founder of AcudocX. I have a question for everyone. How do you think a lone freelancer like myself could handle a high demand of certified personal document translations from direct customers while trying to maintain 100,000 word a month translation and localization workload? Well, today I'm excited to share with you how our process innovation tackles the entire workflow and how AcudocX offers a new complete end-to-end platform as a service for certified translations. The next slide, please. Most innovators in this space have focused on incremental improvements. AcudocX, on the other hand, redefines the workflow entirely, transforming what was once a slow and costly process into a seamless, profitable operation for both translators and LSPs. We've turned traditional pain points into opportunities, automating everything from document submission to payment and slashing delivery times by 95%. This is a leap into the future where translators are directly empowered and compensated immediately. Next slide, please. Our platform addresses every aspect of the certified translation workflow, reducing it from over a dozen steps to just 4 plus automated payments. Our customer-centered process recognizes that people simply appreciate having the option to complete part of the translation process themselves, such as entering their own names, date of birth, addresses, and so on. Via AcudocX's unique self-service process, this becomes easy. We aim to make this even easier by integrating AI and OCR, halving the customer's time while they enter their own personal information. These customer entries then get sent to the first available translator to validate, who then click a button to certify and deliver the final product. Our fastest service delivery yet has been 54 seconds from the point of customer submission, and that was a French to English driver license translation. Immediate automated payments after job completion help boost translator satisfaction because nobody likes having to spend the same amount of time invoicing that they spent translating a single page document and then have to wait months. Next slide, please. So as we prepare for our US launch, AcudocX isn't just ready, it's proven in the Australian market, directly benefiting certified translators, offering a steady flow of work via a process that respects their expertise and independence. And today on LinkedIn, we just announced our very, very first enterprise customer. So your support at this pivotal moment can help us become an industry standard and will have a real positive impact on small LSPs, translators, and immigrants, increasing efficiency, cutting costs, and most importantly, enhancing the lives of every user it touches. To sum up, AcudocX isn't just a tool, we are the Uber for certified translations that will make a real impact on people's lives, transforming a community service into a streamlined, profitable venture. Your endorsement of AcudocX today means supporting a solution that delivers tangible value to those who need it most. This is the future of certified translations. Thank you.
Incredible. You just hit 3 minutes by my clock.
Right, exactly.
On the dot, right, Alex?
Yep.
Yeah,
Woo.
no prizes for
Thanks.
that, but well done.
You're
Lots
lovely.
of really good.
You also
pitch.
got more words in, I think, than anyone else in 3 minutes.
Yeah,
So well
I was
done.
gonna say you just demonstrate how quick your workflow goes. A quick question for you, Dylan. How long did
Yes.
it take you to develop that workflow?
Honestly, it started out. I was working on a 200,000 word translation project, and I was the only certified Thai to English translator in our city. I couldn't stop and stop my work to handle these birth certificates and so on. So I tested it out by sending an empty Microsoft Word document. It came back a complete mess. But I think we had the start of something. So in discussion with developers, we designed a process where the customer accurately enter in their information. And when it gets to the translator, it's in a format that you can validate really quickly. So it's taken us 3 or 4 years now so far.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Dylan, you mentioned the launch in the US. So what other regions are covered at the moment?
At the moment, we
Australia, of course.
We are 44 languages into English. We're going into other into English jurisdictions, starting with the US and then Canada and the UK afterwards. But there is potential to do any language into any language. We need the scalability support.
Brilliant.
Thank you for your time.
Dylan,
Thanks,
thank
Dylan.
you very much. Good job. And we'll move on. So, Sagi, we will ask you to join us on the stage.
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Hey,
Hello.
good to see you. And over to you.
Yeah, let me just open. All right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what Deepdub developed for the media and entertainment industry. If you can move on to the next slide. So the situation with media and entertainment today is that there is a very high demand of new content to be provided constantly all the time. However, the models just don't work. Like viewers are not willing to pay extra. So while people always thought that AI dubbing is going to compete head-to-head with traditional dubbing, we're talking about a completely different paradigm. This is like enabling more content to be dubbed, especially for the media and entertainment domain. So most of the content is kind of locked behind very high costs of traditional dubbing. It simply doesn't make any financial sense to dub the content. If you can move on to the next slide. So the workflow that we developed is a collaborative AI studio, which has like TPN certification, which is crucial for media and entertainment localization. Includes the audio separation, very common in content that you need to unmix the content, the dialogue transcription, short form with speaker diarization, and the result, everything related to translation, rephrasing, which is also important. When you dub new content, you can just speed up the speech. And most important is the human adaptation that empowers dubbers and adapters in that space, because they can also guide the system with their own voice. And our main focus is on delivering text-to-speech with emotion, because we do drama and scripted content that is usually not done with any solution out there. We developed our own LLM, and with accent control, and finally with the lip sync. So meeting the quality performance, we dubbed probably more than 4,000 hours using the system, which is now available for everyone to subscribe to. And in some cases, we got higher scores compared to traditional dubbing when people were not aware that it's AI. Just a little bit of how it looks like very focused on LSPs and dubbing studios. This is only for professional users that come from the localization domain. Otherwise, they get confused and dizzy. Yeah, if you can move on to the next slide, I'll just sum it up. So there are like 4 pillars that bring the quality that we need to meet the threshold. And it's like the speech-to-speech conversion, using emotion-based text-to-speech, voice cloning to imitate real emotions, and the accent control. That's it.
Great.
Great job.
Thank you very much. Yeah, good on time as well. And Dragons, do we have questions?
Sagi, how do
can ask one.
how do you define the emotional space of your LLM? Are you defining emotions or simply not simply, but copying the intonation of the input signal into the dub?
That's the easy way to go about it, but it has some legal complications. It will not pass any studio or any player in media and entertainment. It can work on social content or stuff that you produce on your own for creators and stuff, but it will never work with media and entertainment players that have high sensitivity for the commercial rights. But that's why we have a huge voice bank of voices and emotions that can use that in the process of the localization.
Great. We have
And
time
have
for one
you
more
quantified?
question.
Yeah, have you quantified like the, I don't know, faster time to market delivery of this solution?
Spot on. The question is on time to market. Indeed, we deliver probably like 70 or 80% faster because you cast once and then you can work in parallel. Think that you just need multiple adapters, but they all work with the same voices, with the same cast. And the second thing is scalability. Like if you need to do like 200, 300 hours of content, if you go to a studio, regardless of the cost, it will take a very long time. And sometimes it doesn't match the business goals of the streamer or the broadcaster.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Great questions. Sagi, very well
Thank
done.
you so
Thank
much.
you. Excellent. We'll move on. And Leena, we'll ask you to join us.
Yes, here I am.
There you are. And over to you.
Thanks. So I am Leena Peltomaa from Acolad, and I'm here today to talk about our work in the area of content management and content checking. We are focusing there a little bit on other areas than what is traditional for localization industry. Let's move on to the next slide, please. So what we wanted to challenge ourselves with is whether or not a piece of content that is either source content or maybe translation that we have done is actually reaching diverse audiences, speaking to everybody, if it's inclusive, and if it's also then easy to understand and read. And note that we are talking here about monolingual content, so we're not evaluating translation quality, but something else. Let's go on and watch a video where we see how it works. If you can click on the video, so it starts. So this is a proof of concept that we have made. You can see there that there are several OpenAI models in the background that you can use. The LLM is then looking at 3 different criteria here: inclusiveness, sentiment, and quality of the content, which the user puts in. Here is an example of a French sentence that is rated, and then the output is a score for each of these 3 different criteria that we have here in the example, along with the motivation or rationale for why the score was what it was. So we have here an idea of continuous improvement and collaboration with the users, because the users can also give feedback on whether or not the scoring was accurate or not. The last criteria that we see here is the closest one to linguistic quality, but it's also more about how easily you can understand the text rather than about grammar and spelling as such. Finally, you can also then ask the tool to rephrase the piece of content, and it also shows you what kind of edits have been done, and then the user is able to implement these changes or not as they choose. And if we go to the final slide, please, the solution that we have here is applicable to both our customers who are creating their content, or sometimes we're creating it for them, but also then to translators who have translated. And we are actually working currently with a further improvement of this tool where we focus on regulatory compliance, so checking the content against for instance, local regulation and EU level regulation. The first proof of concept that we have is in the drug labeling industry, where this is very relevant for the users. And I still have 10 seconds left, but I say thank you.
You can absolutely use it, and yeah, 10 seconds. Well done. Leena, really interesting stuff. Dragons, do you have questions on this innovation? They're
Leena,
gobsmacked.
Leena, you were mentioning you're at proof of concept. What's your kind of timeline to release this fully into production?
The current timeline is by the end of this year. So it's already used by some of our pilot customers, but not launched officially for the wide audience or the wide customer base at the moment.
And initial, if I can follow up on that, then initial feedback from pilot clients in terms of their satisfaction level with the content checker?
The first feedback has been rather positive. Of course, there might be needs to customize the prompts in the background for each customer or for different use cases, because the quality criteria might be different in different cases and what the customer actually wants to get out of the tool.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Leena. Great pitch, good questions, and well done. And next up, we have Konstantin Zvenkov. So someone who's been here quite a bit in the past. Konstantin, we'll ask you to join the stage once again. There he is. Hey,
thank you.
Konstantin,
hi.
Over to you.
Right, it's been a while. So I want to present a pure process innovation where we used a bit of AI to transition the change management of AI from a professional services model to more like insurance model. One AI model does a checkup for another AI model and appoints it to a language doctor, So we tend to think that localization is not just translating content, but translating the experience. For that, we have a platform called Language Hub, where we configure automatic translation using machine translation and AI, and connect it to many software systems on customer side for real-time automatic translation. And to make the whole thing work, we need to set up and maintain many MT and AI models. And one may think that to work with MT, you just need to train the model and you're done. But as you see on the next slide, for enterprise-grade real-time production usage, it's not. You need at least 2 models per language pair in case something happens to one of them. And once we put them into production, many things change. So source content, translation requirements, post-editor productivity, underlying technologies change, and you also continuously receive new feedback from end users and linguists. So as you see on the next slide, to take care of that, we have developed what we call MT maintenance process. It's a number of activities run by computational linguists with some degree of automation, and each of them has its own cadence inside a year, resulting in about 75 hours of linguist time, plus some AI fees, plus subject matter expert time to validate changes. And linguists were just doing these activities based on checklists. In this way, it also resulted in about 17 interactions with the customer per year. So what's the problem? Well, the problem is that we manage a few hundred models. And over the last year, we, on one hand, increased the scope because we added LLMs into the mix. On another hand, we doubled number of customers. So we should have raised the price and tripled the workforce. We decided to go another way, as we see on the next slide. So first of all, we have replaced subject matter expertise validation with AI, as many people already said here, works. And we've seen very high correlation between LLMs and expert judgments. But then we combine different checks we run through the year into a single AI checkup, which is performed automatically on data exported from TMS and other systems. Here we use LLMs to analyze changes in the data, and based on these changes, we either schedule planned improvements or ring an alarm to, for intensive care. And as a result, we're able to provide a better change management for our increased customer base, go with our existing workforce without increasing it, and even drop prices 25%. And I think it's a good example when AI is not just a force multiplier, but it leads to a more substantial process innovation. And I think if we want, linguists to be paid like doctors in future, this is the way to go.
Konstantin, another timely reminder. I'm using some of your time here just with some fun interlude, if you want to call it fun. But wow, AI doctors, robots doing checkups. Dragons, you got to have questions here, right? They're speechless. Gaetan?
Yeah, well, I do understand that it's indeed. Do I understand correctly that it's all happening on Intento's platform? This is where this would have to be done, and then it further integrates with everything that Intento can be connected to for then reusing these assets?
So not really. Our platform runs translations, and this is a maintenance. It's done by our kind of professional services unit, which we as a technology company don't really want to grow. So we kind of pushing innovation to services to avoid turning into a services company, if you will.
Thanks for clarifying. Yes.
Got time for one more question? If
I'll ask a question.
Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, where did this innovation come from, Konstantin? And what you know, have you seen anyone else encroach in that space?
Well, you see that on the presentations here, many people do quality evaluation as a part of automation. What I think we, in general, lacking in the industry is to not use AI as crutches to the old, manual process just to make it faster, kind of to make the wheels spin faster, but actually, ditch the wheels and fly.
Wow.
We need to innovate more radically and more bravely.
Ditch the wheels and fly.
I hope it answers the question.
Oh yeah, I think you did. And more. So, hey, Konstantin, brilliant as always having you here. Thank you. And ditch the wheels and fly. Well, we got to fly to our last innovator. So thanks, Konstantin. And last but not least, many people will know István. So István, we'll have you join us.
Hi,
are you ready to fly?
Yes, absolutely. Dave, please put the first slide already. So a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. In our industry, workflow automation and product automation, such as MT and generative AI, are and will be the drivers for change for the next while. Their usage highlights weaker links in the rest of the supply chain. While it is clear that nothing can yet replace the input of humans in translation, the average speed of continuous localization projects remains 24 to 48 hours. It often takes 24 hours between a job being ready and the translator on the other end of the supply chain being able to work on it. A new generation of managers rates speed and ease of fixing problems higher than quality, and they may make concessions on quality because humans are slow. I do not want to see this amazing localization industry become irrelevant, so here's a promise. Cut the time to translator from 24 hours to 5 minutes for all jobs. In a logistics and risk management heavy industry, managers need to perfect all-encompassing processes from the enterprise to the chain of MLVs, SLVs to translators. 2024, translation is like the automotive parts industry. Just-in-time is crucial. Translation providers need dashboards where they can see everything they are working on for all their clients. They need to track availability, solve bottlenecks, know when to hire. They do this with their business management system, which can be their own technology or Plunet, XTR, Protemos, and other tools. Next slide, please. This industry is slow because project managers work 9 to 5 in Japan, Europe, Argentina, and San Francisco as well. Working with SLV slows down the process, but they are extremely effective in vendor sourcing and allocation. And now let's get rid of project management and replace it with process management. Create the ideal process that guarantees quality but removes friction. Belazy's innovation is a technology that enables any buyer using a TMS-based workflow to get the content to the final translator in 5 minutes without interaction from PMs. We spent 5 years building automation, matching any kind of TMS and vendor portal workflow to any kind of business management system. The company is using Phrase, Crowding, SmartLink, MemoQ. The MLV is using Plunet and the SLV is using Protemos. It doesn't matter, we got that covered. We added a single logic of automated vendor assignment to the Belazy orchestrator. You could ask, why is this news? Most TMSs have automated vendor assignment. True, but it only works when you create a new project, not when your customer assigns you a project. We checked 10 systems and none of them had auto-assignment capability when the project was delegated to an LSP. Then we examined business management systems and found that only a few companies have set up automated vendor assignments for licensing or complexity reasons. We needed to act. The technology works with every major TMS and every major BMS without incurring any paid API costs, even if the TMS APIs are paid, for every company across the supply chain. This is achieved by an end-to-end no-touch workflow from the client to the translator, with many translation providers and systems involved. No excuses. If you are an enterprise, you can request faster turnaround times. Work with your vendors on implementing metadata-based lights-out project management. The big innovation here is that this is available for everyone, even those companies that do not have developers. 5 minutes, our promise for the maximum amount of time to get the content from the client to the translator. And by the way, those projects and vendor assignments all get registered and tracked in the company's BMSs. Next slide, please. So let's give our beloved industry a fighting chance against the speed advantage of AI and make vendor assignment delays disappear and remove it as a weakest link. Thank you.
Wow. Well, 5 minutes, you say. You only had 3 minutes to get that across, so well done. Dragons, questions for István?
István, I'm wondering, are the vendors, and where do Be Lazy is using the vendors from? I mean, where's the database for that? Is it in our TMS then?
So what we did is like the vendors are using Be Lazy in this setup together with the enterprise.
Okay.
So there is a need for that, but it is not changing any of their systems. What's happening is that the vendor setup is happening within Be Lazy. So in the first part, it is like a given vendor. When you've got a continuous localization project, very often it's about one translator, one reviewer per language. So this is the simplest. There will be other picks, I think, we can go into the more complicated, sophisticated stuff. But for now, this is what we are implementing.
Thank you.
Veronique, did you have another question?
It kind of answered my question because I was curious on the client side of, what kind of setup is required, but I understand the client needs to also be on Be Lazy. Did I understand that right?
No, the client does not actually.
Okay. So tell us.
So the client can set everything up in their TMS.
Okay.
But basically, the whole point here is that the receiving end is the one that doesn't have the automatic assignment. And that's where we are helping. So the client has an interest in helping
it's
the
faster, much faster for the client. Yeah, I understand.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
So they are reaping the benefit actually, and nobody is changing the process.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Great stuff. Thank you, Dragons. And thank you, István.
Thank you.
And everybody, in fact, because that's the end of the end.
Wow.
Is that the way we say it, Alex?
Yeah. I'm sitting here, Dave. I'm just struck. We say it every time, and it's true every time. The quality of the competition keeps getting better. I mean, I saw at least 6 finalists here today. I don't know how we're gonna have our Dragons select from 3 days of fantastic presentations and amazing innovators. And they do have the tough task now to not only write individual feedback for each of the presenters, but they also then have to vote and come up with a way to get us down to 6 finalists. We will be publishing that information next Wednesday. I'd like to take a second to reveal a little bit of exciting news on behalf of LocWorld. For the first time, here we are on the 16th Process Innovation Challenge, and everyone out there should know we're introducing a cash prize this time. So first prize is going to be €1,000 in Dublin, and we'll also be paying out a smaller sum to second and third place. So that's exciting. Someone will be walking away with a big check on stage in Dublin. So how do we feel about that, Dave?
Great. Is there a check for you and me? No. It's just for the winners, and the way it should be, right? And that's where we're going to be, folks, in June, in Dublin. And we're going to have day 1 of LocWorld at 11 a.m. actually, so we're going to have a nice morning slot for the final. Quick call out, Alex, to Multilingual magazine, who also support us, so there'll be additional prizeware from them. And yeah, I mean, it's exciting. We're evolving this every time, and maybe there's another sneaky thing that may happen in Dublin, that we call something like sneaks. Hey, you're going to have to watch this space, folks. We're not going to reveal any more here, but suffice to say, we're trying to evolve, and come and join us in Dublin. You'll see where we're going. So just suffice to say, or just remains for me to say, rather, that thank you very much to our Dragons. As Alex was saying earlier, and he was kind of smiling because I was smiling as well. The dragons have all the work to do now, and it's quite a heavy lift. So thank you to them. Good luck to them. Thank you to all the innovators over the 3 sessions, and we're just waiting to see what happens, and we'll be in touch with everybody about next steps.
So keep track of the PIC website. Yeah, thanks again. And watch the PIC website, pic.locworld.com. Next Wednesday, we'll announce our list of finalists, and then also look over the next month as Dave and I release some more exciting news very soon. So thanks again to everyone on behalf of LocWorld. What an amazing competition. Congratulations to all of our innovators, and we'll be informing you next week. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.